in my head. I can do the moves. I can dunk. I can do all this stuff.
Hey, man, you got inspired for the NBA All-Star Weekend with the dunk contest. If people follow you on Twitter at Jon_Finkel, man, you and your kids are throwing it down, right?
Yeah, they watched the dunk contest with me, and of course, I don't know when this started, but recently, as they get older, anytime they see something kind of amazing athletically, they'll be like, "Can you do that?" And I automatically just say yes, and then I do my own version of it. And so I was like, "Yeah, we'll go to the courts tomorrow and whatever." And I'll be like, "Can you throw me the alley oop? It's called a lob or whatever." And we actually connected on a it wasn't a 10-foot hoop, but it was close enough for my liking, so I'm okay.
Nice. Love it, man. People, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know, weigh in this conversation. We're talking about best place for you and your family to live. If you could live anywhere in the world with your family, where and why would it be? And of course, some people want to say like where I am right now, and that's fine. But my main man thought of this topic, and I was thinking about it when he brought it up. There's a couple of places that we're going to get into. But John, for you, since you brought it up, man, where would you love to live with your family if you could go anywhere in the world, man?
Yeah, part of it was being realistic, right? I wanted to think about it in the sense of like everybody would be like, "Oh, Maui," right? Like I just go there, and people do. Obviously, people live in all these places. But what is a realistic place where like you're not just saying like, "Oh my God, just Fiji," just on the beach and like place where you'd want to go have your kids go to school and grow up and say that's where they're from. And a lot of people, I don't think most people live in places they dislike or don't want to be or something like that. But like there are people who have weather issues or, they're tired of traffic, like wherever you live somewhere, like so many people, I know a lot of people who just love Florida. And when I moved to Florida, I was like, why not? And then the humidity and all the Northeast old people coming down. And there's a lot of reasons why I didn't like it. So for me, it's not because of Manny Machado. But man, I spent a lot of time in Southern California and a lot of time in San Diego. And, if you don't have a lot of traffic, if you don't have a long commute to work somewhere in San Diego,
yeah,
and somehow like that's the most no-brainer. Like a lot of people yesterday, and that was actually why I thought of this topic, where a lot of people yesterday were like, "What's Manny Machado doing? Like the Yankees or Chicago?" And I was like, "None of you have ever been to San Diego because." Someone's going to pay you, forget that amount of money, but whatever you would consider a good living, and you get to play a sport and live in San Diego. It's the greatest climate, temperature place to be, I think, probably in the U.S., and that would be my number one spot, I think.
Nice, and love that. And I've got a lot of people weighing in. I love this to begin with. We have a lot of people checking out the show. A lot of comments already. Love it. We've got, let's see, our boy Rand saying hello. He says that he's in Dallas right now, but he's going to move to Washington State. AJ Cliff, he's over in the UK, but he said New Zealand or Canada, always been a dream for me to be over there in the UK. So I love that. We got some people saying, I don't know if these people are saying that this is where they want to go or this is where they're from.
Yeah.
We got someone saying from Morocco, Canada. Hello from Coachella. Nice.
Yeah.
Rochester, New York, England. A lot of people right here. Oh, I think this says Nashville for the music. That's awesome. And John, you kind of talked about San Diego and why you wanted to go there. No, I appreciate you sharing Nashville for the music. BJ says somewhere warm.
It's interesting. So it depends what you're thinking. So just so people watching, listen, like when I say I've lived places, I've lived, which means spent like a significant amount of time, had a mailing address, several years there. Like I grew up in Boston. My family moved to New Jersey. Then as an adult, I went to college in Virginia. Then I lived in LA for, Los Angeles area for 8 years. My wife and I lived in Florida for 2 or 3 years. Now I live in Dallas. So I like to, and I have family and friends that live in Minnesota and all over the place. And I like to feel like I have a really good feel for places. And for me, warm weather, surfing, ocean. I love what Noah said, that tacos, food, all that kind of stuff. Like for me, that hits all the boxes. LA, there's parts of LA that I love a lot. My brother lives there. A lot of my friends still live there. The traffic is brutal, and the infrastructure is kind of beat up, and there's not a ton of good schools. Like we're talking about realistically, and San Diego seems to have a little bit more, a little bit less traffic. Like I said, if you don't have a huge commute, a little bit more of a beach town atmosphere where you can kind of live close enough where schools are good. And so, something like that. But again, it all depends on what you're into. I have friends who live in like Denver, and it's because they ski. They want to ski 6-8 months a year, and they would never live. It's too hot to live anywhere else. So I get it. There's no right or wrong. It's just where would you ultimately, want to be? How about you? Where do you are you there? You've lived a lot of places.
Yeah, I moved around a lot as a kid and actually my adult life too. I just want to say a shout out to Robert from Bakersfield, California. Every time I think of Bakersfield, California, I think of that old school movie, The Running Man. This is the way my mind goes. My wife, my kids are always like, I have a spider web as a brain. Do you remember like the butcher from Bakersfield, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's character? Yeah. So thanks for letting me remember that movie, Robert Ruiz. Appreciate that. For me, I love, like the galaxies, stars, universe, and all that stuff. And I've never been to this place. My wife's been to Australia. I would love to see if we could feasibly live in Australia, somewhere kind of in maybe near a city, suburb, whatever, but then also go out into the outback and where there's no lights. One of my friends, he went on a journey and with a group of people, and he said like they camped out one night under the stars, and it was like the most beautiful, picturesque thing. You could look at like the stars in the sky, the universe, and it was just so awesome. And for some reason, like I heard that story about like maybe 12 or 15 years ago, and it still sticks with me, man. And I want to go there and check it out. I like, I've known that, there's some people that have been there, like my wife and some other people and friends and people that we know in Australia. They said it's awesome out there. I love where I've lived throughout the different places in America. I love obviously living in the US, but for some reason, man, Australia would like just be awesome. I know it's a stupid reason just because of the night sky and checking out that, but like I would love that, man.
Yeah, Australia. I had a good friend of mine actually got to do what you're talking about. He lived there for like 4 months with his whole family. They moved there for basically like the last month and a half of the school year, all the way through the summer. And he said he got back, beginning of this school year, and he said it was amazing. Like 4 months is a long enough time where like you get to know the town, the people, and he said it was an incredible experience. So I agree. I think what Gary's saying here, there's like, there's people who love cities, right? There's people who live in New York or Boston or Chicago who could never in a million years consider or even conceive of living anywhere else. And there's people like Gary who live way out, in the Texas Hill Country. He's saying not too city, not too country, just right. But I'm saying there's people like that, and there's people who like West Texas.
It's like the Goldilocks, right?
What's that?
It's like the Goldilocks of living. It's like not too city, not too country, just right.
Yeah, like in Friday Night Lights, right? Like Tim Riggins, like you just want to have a house on 200 acres in the middle of nowhere where no one else is around you, and Texas forever, right? So, but there's people who that's their total dream.
Pablo says, definitely need to stay in Ottawa, Canada. God bless our healthcare system, worth the terrible winters. I love the cold. Like today at the bus stop, it's rainy, it's cold here in North Carolina. And one of the kids that's going to school with my daughters on the bus, the dad walked out and she goes, "You're right, Dad, he is wearing shorts again." Yeah. So I love the cold. Like I don't mind it. Like I'd rather be in a place that experiences all 4 seasons. Probably not. You're not going to get in that in Australia, and I get that. But Steven weighing in really hard right here. Florida sucks. And then right after that, Craig's like, "I hate England. Love to move to Spain."
Yeah, see, it's always the grass is always greener.
Oh, that's awesome. We're in Iowa, and I think the best place to live is the place I'd always like to live is still Iowa. Awesome. That's awesome, Chris.
Yeah, people have places they want to be, and like it all depends. North Carolina, yeah, that's where you are. Yeah, it all depends on what you want and where you're going to live. Like for me, the places that have like really long cold winters are out. Like I love Boston, I love New York, I love Chicago. I've lived most of my life, early life, in Boston, New Jersey, right outside of the city, and right, half hour outside of New York City. The winters are just such a beat down. Like I got so used to it, and then even living in California and Florida, like Florida's just too humid. I don't think it sucks. It's just there's just too much of the year where it's almost the reverse of winter, where it's just too hot. It's too sweaty all the time. You can't relax unless you're right on the water. Yeah. But I like all kinds of places. But I think being on the water in a warm climate is my thing.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that's driving the comments over here is healthcare, man. And I think especially as we get older, and of course we want to take care of our kids, we want to take care of our family and all that. That's like one of the biggest things. A lot of people are saying, I go somewhere where there's great healthcare. So, and it's and it's great too, because as you get older, priorities change. And you kind of mentioned someone living in the city, like I can never live in the suburbs, and vice versa. I've never lived in a city. I've worked in a city, which is totally different. I get that. But I think maybe just, with the experience I've had living like right outside of like Chicago or right outside of New York City or something along those lines, where it's like, all right, I kind of get the best of both worlds. So I think what you were saying, where you kind of live and then talking about Texas and all that, that's great. Mark saying Camden, South Carolina, best unknown town. All right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like they fall in love with like where they live or work at a certain period in their lives. Frankly, New Jersey is very close. I used to live in Bergen County, so
whoa, hold up. Oh man, oh no, John just cut out. Here's the thing. Zachary, are you talking about Franklin, New Jersey, or Franklin Township? Because I used to work in Franklin, New Jersey at the radio station in Franklin, up in Sussex County. I don't know if you're still watching, but if you are, man, let us know, because I'd love to see if you're from that area. Let me see if John's going to come back, but let's see. Who else we got? I think the most amazing thing is to live in this country where there's no technology like the Moorish. All right. Roberta says, Rome or Ireland. I love awesome architecture in the rolling hills of Ireland. That's a place where I definitely want to check out and go and see. So, yeah, I mean, I think, I guess there's a difference between where you want to live permanently and where you want to vacation. And I think, you got to kind of research on really on where you want to go. Let's see. John, are you still there? You still there? Hopefully he can come back, because he definitely has some good points. I always love having him on co-host the show with me. Nice. Kelly Clark says the Shire. Well done, sir. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We're bringing him back. Let's see. Is he coming back? Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Is he back? What up, man?
Hey, am I here? I was still talking, and then it just totally cut.
No, you cut out, and so I was just like, he's not here. No, I was just talking about like why you were out. I said, a lot of people are talking about, Ireland, it'd be beautiful out there, but like there's a difference between where you want. I'm not saying this is, that person's case, but like there's a difference on where you're going to go vacation and where you want to live, right? Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people said healthcare, and then also 2 jobs. You and I have the fortune to work from anywhere because we can work from home. So when my wife wanted to move to North Carolina, I was like, yeah, I work from home, so whatever, So there's a lot of factors, healthcare, and also obviously jobs as well. So
yeah, I think so part of it, if you're going to have the discussion, it's sort of almost like there's like the pie in the sky discussion, right? Like assuming you could get the job that you needed, right? We're not putting this question up there and it's like, hey, you're going to move and not have work for 6 months or not have, healthcare benefits or whatever. So like for the purposes of the discussion, I think what you want to say is like healthcare is you have a job in the healthcare you want, right? Because we're talking about climate, the city, like what it would be like. Because obviously if you're putting together just a list of abstract things, you want, good schools, a job that you like, healthcare that's good, great parks and recreation and infrastructure, good culture. Like you want all that stuff in a city. So the question becomes like, what places sort of have those? Like I love Boston. I absolutely I have always wanted to live in Boston for like 3 months of the year. Like I've always, like a dream of mine has always been to kind of go move somewhere else, live in the city of Boston from, I don't know, like July to September, just like every year, just go there, Sox games, just experience all of that stuff, beginning of football season, and be there. And it's never going to probably happen, but it's always one of those things where like you get the summer there, which is like my favorite city. And then you take off down to the ocean somewhere. Cause there you have, there's a seaport there, there's boats. I mean, you can still go to Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket and do the Cape and all that kind of stuff. So in the summer you get all that stuff. So I would love it at some point in my life to have, the summer winter place.
Yeah, same here, man. Kelly says Tokyo will be awesome. Zachary, my man, Franklin, New Jersey, Sussex County. That's where I used to work, man. Because you know as well as I do, John, there's like Franklin Township, Franklin Town.
Franklin Lakes is the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's actually where Phil Simms used to live, I believe.
Yes, we. Fun fact: when Chris Sims was in high school, we played him my senior year. He was a freshman, and he was so good. He was like probably the only freshman quarterback I'd ever heard of who started varsity, and he picked us apart as like a 14-year-old.
Nice. Zachary said, "Yeah, I put it up there." Oh, dad joke alert! Here you go.
There you go. Yeah.
I actually wrote an article called "I Love Uranus" here at Life of Dad. One of the very first articles I've written for the site, and it was just my daughter was into astronomy, and she was like, "Dad, do you think it's cold on Uranus? What does Uranus look like?" I'm just like, obviously, she was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 at the time, so she doesn't really get it. So I'm like, dad joke, she doesn't get it. I wanted to visit Boston because of the show MASH. City of Boston, LOL. Oh, here's this thing. I used to go to Vegas just to rent a hotel and sleep. Best sleep I've ever had. All the car and people noise outside at perfect volume and quiet, cool room.
Wow.
Amazing sleep. Nice.
There's Vegas, I don't sleep. That is a reversal. No, I like it. I usually, when I used to go to Vegas for work a lot or for bachelor parties or whatever, it was like I'd come home and sleep for 3 days. So they do have comfortable beds. Like when you do decide to sleep in go to sleep in Vegas, it is a good place. Although I've heard a lot of people like moving there now, like with all the infrastructure and all the building and teams and all the stuff moving there. That it's I don't know if you'd ever think like Vegas family town, but I know like Henderson and places outside of Vegas are obviously popping up, and growing in that regard too.
Yeah, man, no doubt. All right, what else we got over here?
So living on a cruise ship, I'm not a cruise person. I've been on one, and I did not like it at all. So not for me, but if it's your kind of thing, Hitesh, that's wonderful.
Jed still bringing the heat. I love it. Jennifer says weather in Scotland is always cold, and we rain. We had a nice summer, and it fell on the 14th of July last year. Craig says, I would love to live in Florida with my daughter. I'm in New Hampshire. Hey, man, again, because we moved around a lot. I talked about Franklin, where I used to work in New Jersey. I used to live in New Hampshire, right on the seacoast in Hampton, man. And that, man, like it's like the town would double in population once the summer hit, man. People from parts of New England would just go up there, rent houses and all that. And then like in the wintertime, it was just like, it wasn't a ghost town because there were still people I would see at school and work and all that stuff. But man, it's crazy. Let's see what else we got over here. Western Australia or Iceland, big contrast. I know Iceland is the one, like Greenland's got the ice. Iceland doesn't have it, right? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, I have a friend who goes to Iceland like every year. Is him and his wife. That's like one of their vacations, I guess. And they like fell in love with it the first time they went. Now they go every single year. What I've seen is a lot, and I don't know anything about it. I've seen a whole lot of people in Europe just wanting to hop to another country, which I don't know anything about. I've been to Europe, on vacation, a couple of times, but like, there's a lot of people who are like, Spain, no, I'm going to Portugal. Like I like seeing those comments. There must be a huge, huge thing going on.
Nice. Jed bringing the dad jokes to full circle. I love that with Gilligan's Island. Guys and moms and dads and everybody who's checking out the show, thanks so much for checking out the show. Great contribution. Maybe we'll finish this another. These are like, I feel like this is a show or a topic where we can keep on, having it over and over again. We forgot to mention, though, but the Life of Dad lunch break show is brought to you by the Life of Dad book. Pick it up. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million. Pre-order wherever you can find it. It's a really great read. A lot of great fatherhood insight in there from the different interviews we've had from people in, pro sports, entertainment, musicians, CEOs. Check it out. John and I put our blood, sweat, and tears in there. So we appreciate you guys checking it out. We'll put a link there as soon as well. But have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. John and I will be back on Monday with another topic. Maybe birthday parties. Who had it better, kids now or when we were growing up? We'll kind of maybe debate that. But thanks again for checking out the show. For John and I, we appreciate it. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
See ya.